Hi, my name is Dana Golden. Welcome back to Environmental Economics with a look at visualizing geospatial data. Particularly today, we're going to focus on dynamic visualization in R and then in a software called Tableau. So you start with a library called Leaflet, and then you can create an interactive map by leaflet of data, and then you use this characters class set we saw in Deepler to add additional additional arguments to this process. You do add tiles, which adds the tiles to the map. You add polygons. You fill color with your attribute column, and then you color it in, and then you add a legend. And this creates a map that people can interact with. So you can then do the same thing with Plotly. Plotly is a very easy software. I've used a lot. I've used a lot for map mapping, and it's really phenomenal for interactive map mapping. You load in the geospatial data. You convert to a format compatible with Plotly, usually GeoJSON, and then you create a Plotly map. You start with plot_Lee, and then you have this character, and then you add your data. You, of course, say that your GeoJSON, where your data is data_GeoJSON. You put in the locations with the unique identifier for the geometries. You put in the attribute you want to visualize, and then very quickly you have an interactive map with Plotly. I'm actually going to show you some Plotly maps right now, because I think actually they're very useful to see. So here's Plotly. Is this really valuable tool for making maps and making very interactive visualization. So here, let's click on one, maybe map-based trace. These are all sorts of different features layered on top of each other. Let's see if I can find an example. Here's one. So I go here. I can change to different candidates who voted in this. I believe this is a borough of New York, but I'm not sure. And then I can look at each district. And I can see who voted for who. I can zoom in. So this is really powerful, and this is something that I think a lot of people find very impressive, because a lot of people have never seen, like, this is Montreal, and it has a hexagon map where the hexagons represent colors, and then the scale is right here as the point count. And so, yeah, so it allows you to see how things are distributed across here. You can also add lines on map in Plotly. Here I can actually interact and rotate it. I think this is very powerful to show someone. We didn't do this with D3. We did it with Plotly. We did this with D3, but a few years ago, some friends and I created a map of supply chain disruptions using Plotly or using D3 that was very similar to Plotly. And you could interact and look at the different supply chain disruptions abroad, and then use a neural network to predict the effects. And that I felt was very powerful, and it looks very good. So that's something that is really cool to show someone, and I think you should, if you're going to the job market, you should create a portfolio of dynamic visualizations, because that I think really impresses people, because being able to interact with those visualizations is very different from seeing something static. It's the difference between driving a car and being driven. So why use Tableau for visualization? Tableau is another software. It's more controlled than R. It's not a general purpose programming language. It's more similar to a ramped up Excel specialized visualization. It's very user-friendly. Tableau has an intuitive drag-and-drop interface for creating dynamic, complex visualizations. It really is easy to create dynamic, interactive dashboards and charts. You can seamlessly connect to various data sources like CSV, SQL, cloud platforms, etc. You can collaborate with others through Tableau Public and Tableau Server. So some popular visualization features with Tableau you can do bar charts, line charts, scatter plots. You can do dashboard, which will allow you to combine multiple visualizations for holistic analysis. You can add filters and parameters so users can see different features and can choose from amongst the features, and you can narrate insights through data stories. Tableau does a lot of the best practices visualization for you, but obviously something I've always gotten in trouble with Tableau is font. Make sure you're checking the font using a really good font. Clean pre-process your data before importing. Use color and labels judiciously to avoid clutter, and design for your audience. Always, 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 when you're writing something or creating a map or creating any visual or any presentation, think about the audience. Don't think about you. And think about how you want the audience to feel. So connecting to an SQL server in Tableau. Yeah, this is an important thing if you're in industry and have access to SQL servers, or you can, if you have access to SQL servers, this will be very useful to be able to connect Tableau directly to an SQL database. So supported databases, Tableau supports most popular databases like MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, and Oracle. The steps connect, go to data, and then from data, connect to data. Select your database type, provide the connection details to the server, the database, and the username and password. Almost always you have to add identification, then click sign in. You can then directly drag tables into Tableau and directly pull variables from each table. It's really phenomenal. And then connecting to an API server. Tableau has a native API connector. Use a pre-built connector for platforms like Salesforce, Google Analytics, and other platforms that directly develop to Tableau. And then you can use a web data connector to use an existing web data connector script. Basically in Tableau, you go to data, you go to connect to data, you select web data connector and provide the WDC URL, and then you authenticate and configure the API settings. And now you actually not only have a dynamic visual, you not only just have a dynamic visual, you have a dynamic visual that runs on its own and pulls data from the web. And if you put that on if you create one of those and put that on your website, demonstrate to an employer that you can do stuff like this, I think that's something employers see as very valuable. Obviously, optimize SQL and API queries for performance before importing in Tableau. Run this in SQL Server Management Studio before you take it to Tableau. Just make sure it works. For APIs, always ensure that the script is well handling authentication. Always ensure that it's handling pagination, and make sure that you're not using too high refresh frequency. Make sure you're not overloading the API. So in terms of spatial data in Tableau, you can import spatial data. Tableau supports major spatial files like shape files like KML and GeoJSON. You can directly connect to spatial databases like PostGIS. You also, in Tableau, which is very cool, and also Tableau and Power BI have this as well. They will automatically recognize geographic data. So if you put in zip codes or census codes, countries, or states, it will automatically assign geographic roles. And then you can fix it if it doesn't. You can tell it what different things represent if it has some confusion about that. You can also use Tableau's built-in maps or connect to Mapbox for customized backgrounds and overlay spatial data for detailed geographic insights. So yeah, you can do ChloroPaths, point maps, heat maps, flow maps. Tableau makes it a lot easier than a lot of other softwares to experiment with a map and figure out what works and what type of visualization works for you. And you can also combine spatial data with non-spatial data sets for comprehensive analysis. You can use filters, tools, tooltips, and layers for interactive spatial dashboards. So last, I'm going to end on visualization, dashboard, and story, which are the three types of granularity you can have in Tableau. So for visualization, like analyzing air quality, you maybe want to create a ChloroPath map to display average air pollution. So this is, you have a map, and it's just one map. It's one page, and you can interact with it, but it's just one page that highlights regions with high pollution levels for targeted policy interventions. You can filter to explore data by time period or pollutant type. And then the next one is the dashboard. So now you can add in multiple different types of visualizations together to tell a more coherent story. I can tell you a lot of employers love dashboards, love seeing what the data are, and then being able to export to Excel. So a bar chart, you can have energy production by source alongside a line chart with monthly renewable and trends in energy adoption. And then you can have a map that shows the geospatial graphical distribution of renewable energy facilities. So you have the data, and then you can show more complex insights with this dashboard. And finally, there's a really exciting one, which is the story, which is a combination of multiple visualizations and dashboards, which allows you to directly walk a user through a particular chain of events and see like how the data tells a particular story. So story points, historical temperature changes, impacts to rising sea levels, correlation between emissions and temperature anomalies. So you can put all these together and you can add narrative to it to create a compelling story. And I would say also, of course, Power BI has similar types of visualizations. Esri, which is the software that creates ArcGIS, the company behind ArcGIS, has pushed out a very compelling competitor story for specifically geographic data that's just phenomenal. And here's like what a dashboard looks like in Tableau. As you can see, you have all the prevalent statistics visualized here. You have all the important data and graphs here in one place. You can make it so it automatically updates. Employers like dashboards. Make some dashboards, show them to employers. So there will be, just like we did with the data and environmental economics, there will eventually be, and hopefully it's up there by the time you're seeing this video, there will eventually be a video where I walk through creating a dashboard in Tableau, and I walk through how to get data into Tableau. But I'm going to leave it there, and I hope you have a great day. Happy visualizing.